Money, a show about entrepreneurs, innovators, and the journeys that they've undertaken. I'm Nandini, and today we'll be talking to the owner of a clothing furnishing brand called Bekar. Quite a catchy name, isn't it? So, they repurpose high quality waste from textile factories and transform it into beautiful fashion and home decor. Okay, so when I first talked to Ashwajit, he told me that most of his family is in the textile business and he's seen a lot of waste being generated in the factories. So he started collecting that waste and making beautiful clothing and decor pieces out of it. I haven't heard of a concept as unique as Bekar, so let's hear more about it from Ashwajit himself.
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this lovely introduction from Nandini. I think you're doing a great job. And meanwhile, you're managing your studies, I'm sure, and everything. So it's a great platform that you have instigated. Really appreciate it. So
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. So let's talk about Bekar.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think you have done a fair job describing what basically I do. So
yeah,
yes, basically this is exactly what we do. We upcycle leftover yarns, leftover threads from fashion and textile workshops,
yeah.
factories, their industries. So from wherever we can find the waste that is definitely going to the landfills, we basically procure that, we source it, and we process it naturally with the help of sunlight. By that, I mean we just put it in sunlight. That's all we do,
Okay.
and then we transform it again into meaningful fashion, meaningful home decor, meaningful home furnishing. So I started with, I've created denims. Like denim is the most naughty fabric around here. Denim is known for, consuming so much of water. It takes around 10,000 liters of water to make one pair of jeans. And this is
Oh,
not my numbers. This is a number from UN. You can even Google it. I mean, you can find all this information like online. You can Google it about denims. So
yeah.
when I wanted to start something in this particular field, and I thought, why not create denim, which is again, it consumes a lot of water. So why not to do something around denims, and that to hand woven denims, that it doesn't consume water. So basically, again, when I started, it was all the denims that I started with. It was again hand woven denims made from finest waste cotton, and we
Okay.
didn't even use a single drop of water. So I created
Wow.
denim shirts out of it, and yeah, it was gender neutral denim shirts. I think people liked it. From there, I got this huge motivation. I was like, yes, there is some sort of potential. People want to know what goes behind their clothes, what's the story of the clothes, what they want to wear. That's motivated me, and yeah, that's how the journey began. And the shirts that I've created, it was all gender neutral. I mean, anyone can wear it. You don't need to have, uh, you know, a particular gender. You don't have to be associated with a gender to wear a normal shirt. So I think that was a great push. That was a start. And it started off like last year. This time around last year, I was just going around, going to the factories, going to the scrap dealers and asking for, do you have any waste? Do you have any like waste thread or whatever? So I was not using the word waste. What I was using, the leftover yarns, leftover threads. But
Yeah.
again, they started using this word quite a lot. So you want bekar, bekar ka dhaga, bekar ka yarn. And then exactly, and then even my family. I mean, they still thinks, or somewhat their perception has changed. But again, even my friends and family, they used to tell me that it's a waste of an idea. Why do I want to do something with the waste when I can, I can have a comfortable job, or I can do something. I mean, it doesn't concerns waste, but from there, the term bekar, it was, I guess, it was implanted in my brain. It was in my conscious all the time. And when I saw people, the factory owners and the scrap dealers using the same word, so I thought it's like a calling. Why not to use the same word? Why not to just call it bekar? So I guess, yeah, that's how I started calling it bekar as well. And then moving forward, after the shirts, for the shirts, honestly, I didn't get quite. I mean, I got amazing response. I got good response from, domestic market, from Indian market, but the concept, it was much appreciated outside. I mean, in London, people loved it when I showed my designs, when I showed them the concept. They loved it.
Okay.
So for Indian market, I thought, first people need to understand, what upcycling fashion, what upcycle fashion basically means, what upcycling means.
Yeah.
And it's a very small world for sustainable development, for sustainable fashion, for using something with the waste. And people generally think that if you're using something with the waste, you're just using the patches, and then
Ah.
that patches will show, right? Whenever you see a shirt or anything, or be it anything, and when people said it's made from waste, made from fabric waste, so fabric waste, they just kind of use the patches and use it. So people had this kind of perception. So I thought, why not to introduce something in Indian market? Why not to go with something that everybody would appreciate? That's how I got into home furnishing segment. Then we
Okay.
created again sofa throws, because sofa throws, again, I think it's a budding concept here. People are now people are buying more throws. I mean, they're appreciating the concept of throws here. So that's how I started making throws, because throws I'm making from acrylic yarns, like waste acrylic yarns.
Okay.
And there's a lot and lot of waste acrylic yarns, because again, we are, I mean, India is one of the leading exporters in home furnishing. And I think in Americas and in, in Europe, all the blankets, all the throws, it's made from acrylic yarns, because again, it's durable, it's warm, but
Okay.
again, it's a synthetic fabric. It's not biodegradable. I think by the end of every order, or even during the every order, the factories, they're left with so much of the acrylic yarns that they don't even know what to do with that. Ultimately, it just goes into the landfill. Or if somebody else wants to use it, they will use it in a least sustainable way. And when I was sourcing the waste, initially I wanted only the finest cotton, like only the finest waste cotton, so that I can make denim shirts out of it, or normal shirts out of it, cotton shirts out of it. But again, when you're selecting the waste, I mean, I can't be the one who's selecting the waste or picking the waste. So I was like, all right, whatever I'm getting, I'm gonna get it, and then we'll decide what
Yeah.
exactly we have to do with it. So with the acrylic waste yarns, I'm making sofa throws, and I made scarves for fashion accessories, and people loved it. I mean, in exhibitions, I used to take part in exhibitions. So like, wow. And I met amazing people in the same kind of industry, where all these people from other
Yeah.
like upcycling family. So it's like a journey.
That's great. Yeah. So you're also promoting sustainability, but also saving water. That's like ek thi se do nishan. But it's really, really amazing, and you're meeting new people. So that's also very great.
The concept of sustainability, again, you have to save water. It's not just
Definitely.
and yeah, I mean, these days you can everybody is claiming to be sustainable, just because
Yeah.
it's a buzzword. Everybody wants to use it. But
Yeah.
please, whenever you're buying something, make sure how it's been made. Just because somebody is using cotton, sorry, it doesn't make it sustainable at all. But yeah, but
Mm.
anyway, the journey, I mean, everybody's undertaking their own journey, and it has to take its fair course, which is amazing.
Definitely.
I mean, but now people are getting more into it, and they want to know, like, consider yourself. I believe actually that Generation Z, as I said earlier as well, Generation
Yeah.
Z, responsible for bringing sustainable fashion in our society, and that would be amazing, isn't it?
Definitely. Definitely. And I would really like it, for like bigger brands to promote sustainability in
Mhm.
this way. It'll be so much more better.
Let me share something with you. So with the bigger brands, what lies the problem? The problem is the business model,
Yeah.
the way, I mean, they want to serve as many people, and we can't entirely blame all these big brands and everyone. I mean, behind polluting, or why we call fashion or textile industry the second largest polluter or most water consumption industry. I mean, we all are to be blamed for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they have to take care of the consumption. So that's why they have to come up with more designs. They have to come up with huge numbers, overproduction. That's a reason in this industry why there's so much waste. And when I say waste, the waste that I'm sourcing, it's not waste. It's just leftover yarns. It's what fell from the looms. It's what when you overbuy, you don't have means to recreate something with little,
Yeah.
because again, yeah, the design change, pattern changes, and everything when it change, you have to cope with the demand basically. And it's not really waste. I mean,
It's like the
Yeah, it's just
leftover.
whatever. Exactly, it's just a leftover thing. It's shame that we have to call it waste, or the industries have to call it waste, just because they can't use it. Again, it's not as per their business model. They have to move very fast. There is very little time between orders, or even
Yeah.
if there's huge time between orders, they can't produce. It's going to be really expensive for them, and then
Yeah.
there is, and at the end of the day, they want to work with the numbers. But with this kind of thing, I mean, when I was doing the production thing, I was giving myself the target for 100 pieces every month, and I
Okay.
know the struggle was real. But which is amazing. That was the best selling point for what I was saying to the people, that no two pieces gonna be the same. There's a unique factor in it. So I think that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Okay, so tell us, how did you get your first customer? Like, I want to know, how did you start getting traction?
Customer, I no, I was. This is not like how I got my first customer. Uh, but well, I started taking part in the exhibitions,
Okay.
and before that, I used to visit colleges, universities. I was interacting with younger people quite a lot,
Yeah.
and yeah, I was introducing this whole concept to them. And yes, people, they started asking questions, and they were intrigued. So I was like, great, people are intrigued. They are getting intrigued. They want to know how I want to do it. What am I even thinking? So they gave me their ears, and I just explained everything. So I thought,
Yeah.
yes, let's start, let's do it. Let's see how it's gonna work, how it's gonna go. And yes, it was in November when I took part in the exhibition in Delhi. It's called Dastkar, and it's an amazing platform. I mean, I was only taking part for weekends, Saturday, Sunday. That's
Okay.
it,
Okay.
because that's all I could afford at that time. So, but yeah, and till now, I mean, I'm more for the interaction. I'm more what this concept is all about, what Bekar is all about, and rather than making or doing any sale, I don't mind. I mean, of course, people. I mean, you have instigated a business, so of course you have to anticipate that there will be losses, and you have to bear it in mind that
Yeah.
But I just want interaction. I just want people to know about the brand.
Because once people start getting the concept, the business will boom. And, because it's a new thing for people in
Right.
India. So it's very important for them to understand the concept before they start
Mm,
purchasing.
and I think, and I don't even call it business, to be honest. I mean, of course, it is. There is a commercial side of it, and yes, you have to make it feasible. But like more than that, the main idea, what goes behind it, that I want to make it sustainable for everyone, even
Yeah.
for the factories that are involved, that people who wants to work with me. I want to make it sustainable for everyone. So this is a plan. Had it, been a different scenario, if it was there was no pandemic or something, I wanted to work with like freelancers, people who would
Okay.
want
Wow.
to, yeah, people who would want to give education
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
their free
Yeah.
time. I wanted to do that, and with the weavers who were involved with me, they can educate their families, what their kids can't learn in schools. That
Yeah. So
you
with the
know,
team, you could educate
I
people
just, exactly. So this was the plan. This still is the plan, and I'm sure I'll be able to achieve it next year, like whenever things get
whenever
little ease.
the
Yeah,
pandemic. Yeah.
but again, we have to make sure that it's not very risky for people involved. So, but yeah,
Okay. So you told me that you have a textile background. So how did that help you when you
yes, I
started
do.
off with Bekar? Like, what was the benefit of having such a background?
My family was into textiles, so my family business, it used to be textiles,
Okay.
and it was started by my grandfather in
Acha.
1945, 1944.
Ooh,
So
okay.
after, yeah, he's a war veteran. He fought World War II. After he fought the war, he came back and textile business. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, that helped. That helped as in it helped me uh, not entirely gain the knowledge, because I don't really know anything about. I mean, much about the textiles. I'm still learning. Because this is not entirely my background. I'm not a designer. I'm not a textile designer or of any sort. But again,
Okay.
I used to go to the factories when I was a kid. My father used to take me, and then yes, I always used to just wonder, why is there so much of threads all over the place? I mean, why? Why can't we use it?
Yeah.
And yeah. I used to ask my father, and when he was doing discussing his business deals or his business with the factory owners, so they were like, कि, yeah, इसके गद्दे बनेंगे, इसका कुछ ऐसा होगा. I was like, okay, but it's kind of new. It's just it's all over the place. So that's how I decide. I mean, not decided, but yeah, at a younger age, I guess. I think the thought never left the conscious, my
Okay.
subconscious, I would say. And yes, when I had to decide that what I want to do with my life, it was always has to be about sustainability, about
Yeah.
living a sustainable life. So yes, if it was not a textile business or fashion business, I'm sure it would be a different business. But again, it would be somewhat, or it would be in the sustainability field of the business. That I'm
Yes.
sure about. I wanted to be in this sector. I wanted to do something for it. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, being the only person behind this company, it must be kind of hectic to manage everything. So, how do you like manage everything? And also, do you have any plans to bring more people into this company to work with you?
Ah, right. Yes, I am the only person at the moment who was literally doing everything, from sourcing and from designing and from marketing, from selling. It's not really hectic. It's lovely. It's amazing. I mean, it's not something that I'm always working or I'm always stressed out. It's literally opposite. I don't consider it as work. Whatever I'm doing, I love doing it. And
Okay.
yeah, it's a whole lot of learning experience when you're calling people every single day, when you are trying to, when you're sending emails, when you're replying, then you're designing. But of course, yes, the plan is to have as many people as possible and create a whole family of Bekar people, I would say. Because I
I
do have
can't tell
plans. I
you
want
how much
to.
I like the name. I
Mhm.
mean, it's so catchy. I can't. It's really good.
Yeah, I guess from the marketing point of view as well, it's eye-catching name because
Yeah.
I remember there were people who were just walking past my stall in during exhibitions, and they used to just stop and they try to read the name, and I could see them. They were pronouncing it in their head, but again, they thought that it must be something else. It can't be Bekar, right? You suddenly
Yeah.
see a stall named Bekar, spells like baker or whatever, and then they used to like पूछूं ना पूछूं what to do, and then
Okay.
you could see the perplexed expressions on their faces, and then I used to go forward and I used to say yes, it's Bekar, and they used to just burst out laughing and like, really, it's Bekar? क्यों ये बेकार क्यों है, क्या है? Then I used to explain everything. They were like, oh wow, it's amazing. So even though people like not everybody used to buy something, but again, they used to left with the thought again with the with Bekar.
And I think that's the goal. You're doing a great job. I mean, it's stuck in people's mind. I think that is really great.
Well, thank you. I think the concept is great. I'm not doing anything great.
Yes,
I'm sure there are a lot of people who must be doing something similar, who are or doing something exactly or doing something better than I am doing. But again, the concept is a hero.
definitely.
Even I love the concept. And even when I had my first collection, I literally fell in love with the collection, with the brand, and with the idea and
Yeah,
everything. I was like, wow.
it's
I
wonderful.
think I'm not gonna leave the idea, and this idea is not gonna leave me either. So like, wow, that's great.
Yeah. Okay, so what is your vision for Bekar? Like 5 years down the line, where do you see your business?
5 years down the line, wow. I hope to live in a better world where we don't have to be worried about the consequences of, again,
I
uh,
wish.
yeah, I mean, environment, the way that we are going with it, we are polluting and everything. I think we could be able to reverse a few things. And again, I think as a whole industry, I think if we could just promote hand woven clothes or hand woven garments and the hand woven sector, if we could just promote that, I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
And yes, I think when people, even ask you what's your 5 year plan or something, my 5 year plan is to how the industry could work better. Because if the industry grows, of course, we grow as a part of the industry, and then you can do something better for the whole economy and everything. So I think yes,
absolutely.
my 5 year plan would be that how this the industry could improve, how more people want to work with hands, and how more weavers. Because at this point in time, when you ask a weaver, I mean, there are old weavers, but when you ask them, so like आपका बेटा क्या करता है, आपके कितने बच्चे हैं, so they'll tell you,
Hmm.
and none of their kids are working in the same segment, on the same sector. It's a shame. I mean, these workers, these weavers, they're amazing. They're literally, they're artists, and it's a shame that it's the art has not been passed on to their generations. But again, we won't be able to survive like this if we are moving forward. But moving forward means that it's not really moving forward. We are moving in a different direction, and then we are polluting the environment. That's not really moving forward. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's I guess the 5-year plan is. If the industry, I mean, try to make the industry work better. Yes, as I mentioned, if the industry will grow, we will grow as well, and more people will come in the industry, and that would be amazing. Like we literally need more and more people. We need more podcasts like this. We need more players like this, and yes, we need more businesses to do something for sustainability as well.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much, Ashwajit, for talking to us about your business. I wish you all the very best for the future. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
So thank you so much. You've been really kind. Thank you.
Okay, so for those of you who want to check out Ashwajit's page, I'll leave a link in the description to make it easier for you. Alright, guys, that does it for today's edition of Young Money. If you're someone who owns a business, or if you know someone who has had an exciting journey, you can reach out to us at ympodcast@gmail.com. We'll see you guys next week.